Close your eyes, if you wish, and let your mind drift back, far back, to a time when the world was young and civilization was just beginning to take root. Welcome to Echoes Before Sleep, where we wander through the quiet corners of the past, exploring lives and stories long forgotten. Tonight, we journey to ancient Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, a place often called the cradle of civilization. Here, in the dusty fields and bustling cities of Sumer, life was a tapestry of struggle, ambition, mystery, and fleeting moments of splendor. Imagine yourself standing on the banks of a muddy river, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and barley. The sun beats down, relentless, as the rhythm of ancient lives unfolds around you. In this video, we'll immerse you in the grueling days of a Mesopotamian farmer, trace the rise of a legendary king, unravel the secrets of a towering ziggurat, and step into the opulent halls of a royal palace. Each story is woven with care, designed to inform, to soothe, and to guide you gently toward rest. Let the worries of today fade as we begin our journey, first with a life that was as essential as it was unforgiving, the life of a farmer in ancient Sumer. Settle in, breathe deeply, and let the past carry you away. Why you wouldn't last a day as a Mesopotamian farmer? Picture yourself waking before dawn, your body stiff from a night spent on a thin reed mat in a small mud brick hut. The air inside is heavy, damp with the breath of your family and the faint musk of the goats tethered just beyond the doorway. This is your world, a humble corner of a Sumerian village around 3000 BCE, nestled along the banks of the Tigris River. You are a farmer, one of countless souls whose labor feeds the cities of Ur, Uruk, and Lagash. But as the first light creeps through the cracks in your walls, you'll soon discover why you wouldn't last a day in this life. Your morning begins with a splash of tepid water from a clay jar, your only defense against the dust that clings to your skin. There's no time for lingering. You pull on a coarse linen kilt, its fibers scratching against your legs, and step outside into a world already stirring. The air carries the sharp tang of river mud and the distant lowing of oxen. Your fields lie just beyond the village, a patchwork of barley and emery that stretches toward the horizon. But before you can tend them, you must eat. Breakfast is simple, almost ritualistic in its plainness. You sit cross-legged on the ground, sharing a round of flatbread made from barley flour, its texture gritty against your teeth. Beside it is a small bowl of watery porridge, flavored only with a pinch of salt. Occasionally, there's a handful of dates, their sticky sweetness a rare treat. You chew slowly, your jaw working against the toughness of the bread, knowing this meal must sustain you through hours of toil. The rhythm of your life is dictated by the land, and the land is unforgiving. Now, imagine yourself trudging toward your fields, a wooden hoe slung over your shoulder. The sun is rising, already fierce, and the ground beneath your bare feet is cracked and warm. Your plot is small, barely enough to feed your family and meet the demands of the temple priests who oversee the land. The Tigris River, lifeblood of Sumer, is both your ally and your adversary. Its floods bring fertile silt, but they come unpredictably, sometimes washing away your crops, sometimes leaving your fields parched when the waters recede too soon. Today, you must repair an irrigation ditch, a task that consumes much of your morning. You kneel beside the ditch, your hands sinking into the cool, viscous mud. The work is backbreaking, your spine aching as you scoop and shape the earth to guide the river's flow. Flies buzz around your face, drawn by the sweat that stings your eyes. You pause only to drink from a clay jug, the water warm and faintly brackish. Around you, other farmers labor in silence, their figures blurred by the haze of dust. This is the rhythm of your life. Dig, plant, water, pray. Always pray, for the gods and Enlil, Inanna hold your fate in their hands. The gods are ever present, their will interpreted by the priests who demand a portion of your harvest. As you work, you can't help but glance toward the distant ziggurat of Ur, its stepped silhouette looming against the sky. The temple owns much of the land you till, and their scribes will soon visit to tally your yield. Failure to meet their quota means debt, or worse, the loss of your land. You've seen neighbors forced into servitude, their families scattered. The weight of this fear settles into your bones, as constant as the ache in your hands. Midday brings a brief respite, though the heat is now oppressive, the air shimmering above the fields. You retreat to the shade of a lone date palm, its fronds rustling faintly in the breeze. Lunch is more bread, perhaps with a smear of sesame oil if you're fortunate. Your children join you, their faces smudged with dirt, bringing news of the village. A neighbor's ox has fallen ill. A canal has breached. You listen, but your mind is on the afternoon's task sowing barley, checking for locusts, repairing your plow. The plow itself is a crude thing, a wooden ard tipped with flint, pulled by an ox if you're lucky, or by your own strength if the beast is sick. You guide it through the soil, your shoulders straining, your breath coming in short gasps. The earth resists, clods breaking unevenly, and you must stop often to clear stones or disentangle roots. By late afternoon, your hands are blistered, your kilt soaked with sweat and caked with mud. The sun seems to linger, mocking your exhaustion. As evening approaches, you turn your attention to the canals, ensuring the water reaches every corner of your field. This is delicate work, requiring you to balance on narrow mud banks, your feet slipping in the slime. A misstep could flood your crops or starve them. You work until the light fades, the sky turning a deep indigo streaked with the first stars. Only then do you return home, your body heavy, your mind dulled by the day's grind. Dinner mirrors breakfast. More barley bread, perhaps a thin stew of lentils and leeks, cooked over a small fire of dried reeds. You eat in near silence, the flicker of the flames casting shadows on the walls. Your family is weary. Too, your wife has spent the day grinding grain, your children weaving baskets or tending the goats. Conversation is sparse, limited to the necessities of survival. The rhythm of your life allows little else. As you lie down for the night, the reed mat offering scant comfort, you hear the distant howl of a jackal, the murmur of the river beyond the village. Sleep comes slowly, your body aching, your thoughts circling the tasks that await tomorrow. Disease is a constant threat: malaria from the stagnant canals, dysentery from tainted water. You've lost a child to fever, a wound that never heals. The gods offer no guarantees, only the hope that your offerings of grain and prayer will earn their favor. This was the life of a Mesopotamian farmer, a life of endless labor, bound to the land and the will of distant powers. It was a world where survival demanded resilience, where every day was a quiet battle against nature, hunger, and fate. As we leave this humble village behind, let your mind linger on the weight of their days, the steady pulse of their struggle. In our next chapter, we'll follow a very different path, tracing the rise of a man who defied the odds to forge an empire, Sargon of Akkad. Let your thoughts drift now, away from the dusty fields and mud brick huts of the Sumerian farmer, toward a broader horizon where ambition and destiny collide. The world of ancient Mesopotamia is not only a place of toil, but also of stories, of men and women whose names echo through the ages. As you settle deeper into this quiet journey, imagine a bustling city, its streets alive with the hum of traders, the clink of bronze, and the whispers of power. This is the world of Sargon of Akkad, a man whose life began in obscurity, but reshaped the land between the rivers. Close your eyes, if you wish, and let his story unfold. A tale of rise and fall, woven gently to guide you toward rest. Picture the Euphrates River, its waters glinting under a twilight sky around 2334 BC. According to legend, a child is set adrift in a reed basket, cradled by the current, his fate entrusted to the gods. This is Sargon, or so the ancient scribes tell us, a figure whose origins are cloaked in myth. Some say he was the son of a priestess, forbidden to bear children. Others that he was a gardener's boy, raised in the shadow of Kish, a powerful city-state. Whatever the truth, his early years were humble, his hands likely calloused from labor, not unlike the farmers we've left behind. Yet something within him burned brighter, a spark that would ignite a new era. As a young man, Sargon enters the service of Wurzababa, king of Kish. The city is a maze of sun-baked walls and towering temples, its air thick with the scent of incense and roasted barley. Here, Sargon is no more than a cupbearer, a trusted servant pouring date wine for his master. But the court is a place of intrigue, where loyalty is fragile and ambition dangerous. The details are lost to time, but cuneiform tablets hint at tension, perhaps a plot, perhaps a betrayal. Wurzababa senses a threat in his servant's quiet competence, and Sargon, whether by choice or necessity, flees the city. Now imagine Sargon standing on the plains beyond Kish, his future uncertain, the wind carrying the distant murmur of the Tigris. He gathers followers, discontented warriors, landless men, those hungry for change. Mesopotamia in this era is a fractured land, its city-states like Uruk, Lagash, and Umma locked in endless rivalries over water, land, and prestige. Each city worships its own gods, guards its own walls, and dreams of dominance. Sargon, with no claim to royalty, dares to challenge this order. His first conquest is small, perhaps a minor outpost, but it sets the stage for something unprecedented. Picture the clash of armies on a dusty field, the air filled with the thud of mace against shield, the cries of men fading into the haze. Sargon's forces are disciplined, his strategies cunning. He wields not only weapons but words, promising unity under his rule. One by one, the cities fall. Uruk, with its legendary walls, bows to his might. Lagash, rich with grain, opens its gates. The scribes later claim he conquered 34 cities, a number etched in clay, though the truth may be less precise. What matters is the outcome. Sargon unites Sumer and Akkad, creating the world's first empire, a realm stretching from the Persian Gulf to the northern plains. As emperor, Sargon builds a new capital, Akkad, a city whose location remains a mystery, lost beneath the sands. Imagine its streets, lined with date palms, its markets fragrant with spices from distant lands. Sargon's court is a blend of Sumerian tradition and Akkadian innovation. He appoints governors to rule his cities, replacing local kings, and standardizes weights and measures to bind his empire through trade. His scribes record his deeds in Akkadian, a language that begins to rival Sumerian. Yet his rule is not without resistance. The cities chafe under his yoke, their priests murmuring of offended gods, their nobles plotting rebellion. Sargon's life is now a delicate balance, his days spent receiving tribute, settling disputes, and dispatching armies. Picture him seated on a throne of cedar, his robe adorned with lapis beads, his eyes weary but sharp. Messengers arrive with clay tablets, their wedges pressed deep with urgent news. A revolt in Umma, a drought in the south. Sargon responds with force when needed, but also with diplomacy, marrying his daughter Enheduanna to a priest in Ur, cementing divine favor. Enheduanna herself becomes a poet, her hymns to Inanna preserved for millennia, a quiet legacy beside her father's conquests. But even an emperor cannot escape the weight of time. In his later years, Sargon faces unrest. The cities he unified rise against him, their alliances fragile as reeds. A Sumerian king list speaks of a great rebellion, though its details are vague. Imagine Sargon, now gray-haired, leading his army once more, his steps slower, but his resolve unbroken. He quells the revolt, but the victory is bitter. His empire, built on force and vision, begins to fray at the edges. The gods, it seems, are fickle, their favor fleeting. Sargon's death, around 2279 BCE, marks the end of an era. As scribes record no grand funeral, no towering tomb. His body returns to the earth, perhaps near Akkad, perhaps forgotten. His empire stumbles on under his sons, Raimish and Manish-Tushul, but cracks widen. Within a century, it collapses, swallowed by invasions and internal strife. Akkad itself vanishes, its bricks reclaimed by the desert. Yet Sargon's name endures, a whisper in the clay, a legend of a man who rose from nothing to bind a world. As we leave Sargon's story behind, let your mind linger on the impermanence of power, the quiet rise and fall of ambition. His life was a fleeting moment in the vast tapestry of Mesopotamia, a land of mystery and wonder. In our next chapter, we'll turn to one of its greatest enigmas, the Great Ziggurat of Ur, a monument to faith and secrets lost to time. For now, rest in the rhythm of this ancient world, its stories carrying you gently forward. Let your mind drift now, away from the clash of empires and the ambitions of Sargon, to a quieter, more enigmatic corner of ancient Mesopotamia. Picture a vast plain under a starlit sky, where a great structure rises, its silhouette stark against the horizon. This is the Great Ziggurat of Ur, a monument of mud brick and devotion, built to honor the moon god Nana. As you settle deeper into this soothing journey, imagine yourself standing at its base, the air cool and fragrant with the scent of river reeds. Tonight, we explore the mysteries of this ancient wonder, its purpose, its rituals, and the secrets it holds, woven gently to guide you toward rest. It is around 2100 BCE, and the city of Ur hums with life. The ziggurat looms over its streets, a stepped pyramid of 3 massive terraces, each smaller than the last, rising some 70 feet toward the heavens. Its core is mud brick, baked in the sun, its outer walls faced with glazed tiles that shimmer blue and gold in the daylight. At its summit, a small shrine glows under the moon, a sacred space few will ever enter. The ziggurat is not just a building, but a bridge between earth and sky, a place where priests commune with the divine. As you imagine its towering presence, feel the weight of its age, the centuries it has stood watching over the city. The ziggurat's construction is a story of labor and faith. Commissioned by King Ur-Nammu, founder of the 3rd dynasty of Ur, it was built to honor Nana, the moon god who governed the tides, the seasons, and the fates of men. Picture the scene. Thousands of workers, their hands caked with clay, hauling bricks under the relentless sun. The air is thick with dust and the rhythmic chants of laborers, their voices blending with the creak of wooden sledges. Scribes oversee the work, their clay tablets etched with tallies of bricks and rations. The effort spans years, perhaps decades, a testament to the city's devotion and the king's power. But what happened within the ziggurat's sacred precincts? This is where the mystery deepens. Unlike the pyramids of Egypt, the ziggurat was not a tomb, but a living temple, its upper shrine reserved for rituals known only to the high priests and priestesses. Cuneiform tablets speak of offerings, barley, sheep, incense presented to Nana under the silver light of the moon. Imagine a procession climbing the grand staircase, their torches casting flickering shadows, their robes rustling softly. At the summit, a priestess, perhaps a daughter of the king, pours oil into a brazier, her prayers rising with the smoke. Was this a simple act of worship, or something more a play for divine guidance? A ritual to ensure the river's flood? Archaeologists, piecing together the ziggurat's story, offer tantalizing clues. Excavations in the 1920s by Sir Leonard Woolley uncovered the ziggurat's foundations, revealing a complex of courtyards, storerooms, and altars. One discovery stands out, a series of clay tablets describing the Untu, a high priestess dedicated to Nana, who lived in a sacred enclosure near the ziggurat. Her role was both spiritual and political, her chastity a symbol of the city's purity. Some scholars speculate that the ziggurat's shrine hosted a sacred marriage, a ritual uniting the king with a priestess to ensure fertility and prosperity. Others argue it was an observatory, its alignment tracking the moon's phases. The truth remains elusive, a whisper in the clay. The ziggurat's design adds to its enigma. Its terraces, each a different color, were said to reflect the cosmos, earth, sky, and heavens. Its staircases, 3 in number, converged at a single point, perhaps symbolizing the unity of the divine and mortal realms. Yet practical questions linger. Was it a storehouse for grain? As some tablets suggest, its rooms filled with the city's wealth? Or was it purely a place of worship, its lower levels bustling with scribes and artisans? The ziggurat's weathered walls offer no clear answers, their tiles faded by millennia of wind and sand. Picture the ziggurat at night, its silhouette softened by moonlight, the city below quiet save for the murmur of the Euphrates. The priests' chants drift faintly, their words lost to time. This was a place of awe, where ordinary men and women gazed upward, feeling the presence of the gods. Yet it was also a place of labor, built and maintained by hands like those of the farmer we met earlier. The ziggurat bound the city together, its shadow touching every life, from the humblest worker to the mightiest king. The mystery deepens when we consider its decline. By 500 BCE, Ur was waning, its canals silting up, its people scattered by war and drought. The ziggurat stood abandoned, its terraces crumbling, its shrine silent. When Alexander the Great passed through centuries later, he ordered its restoration, but the work was never completed. Today, its ruins rise from the Iraqi desert, a testament to a civilization's faith and ambition. Archaeologists still debate its purpose. Was it a temple, a fortress, a symbol of power? The answer lies buried, perhaps in a tablet yet to be found. As we linger on the ziggurat steps, let your mind rest in its quiet mystery. The weight of its stones, a reminder of a world long gone. The past is full of such wonders, each a thread in the tapestry of Mesopotamia. In our final chapter, we'll step into a very different world, one of opulence and power, where kings and nobles lived in splendor atop the labor of others. For now, let the image of the ziggurat fade, its silhouette blending with the stars, carrying you gently toward rest. Let your thoughts drift now, away from the starlit mystery of the great ziggurat of Ur, to a world of splendor and power within the heart of ancient Mesopotamia. Picture yourself stepping through a grand gateway, its cedar doors inlaid with bronze, into the palace of a Sumerian king in the city of Ur around 2100 BCE. The air is cool and fragrant with myrrh, a stark contrast to the dusty fields we began with. As you settle into this final chapter of our journey, imagine the flicker of oil lamps, the soft murmur of courtiers, and the weight of a crown. This is the life of a king, a life of luxury built on the labor of others, woven gently to guide you toward rest. You stand in a vast courtyard, its floor paved with polished limestone, surrounded by walls adorned with mosaics of lapis lazuli and shell. The palace is a labyrinth of chambers, from audience halls to private quarters, each designed to proclaim the king's divine authority. As you move deeper, the sounds of the city, its markets, its canals fade, replaced by the rustle of linen robes and the clink of silver goblets. The king, perhaps Urnamu himself, is both ruler and intermediary between gods and men, his every action imbued with sacred purpose. Your day begins with a ritual, a quiet moment in a shrine within the palace. You kneel before a statue of Enlil, the god of air and storms, offering a clay bowl of incense, its smoke curling upward. Priests chant softly, their voices a steady rhythm, as they anoint you with oil. This act is not mere ceremony. It reaffirms your divine mandate, a claim that binds your rule to the will of the heavens. The air is heavy with the scent of cedar and resin, a reminder of the wealth that flows through your city timber from Lebanon. lapis from distant mountains. Now imagine yourself seated in the audience hall, a throne of ebony beneath you, its arms carved with lions. The room is vast, its ceiling supported by painted beams, its walls depicting your victory's processions of captives, tributes of grain and gold. Before you stand emissaries from Lagash, their heads bowed, presenting a tablet etched with a treaty. You listen, your voice calm but firm, as scribes record every word. Your decisions shape the lives of thousands, from the allocation of water to the punishment of rebels. Yet power is precarious, balanced on the loyalty of nobles and the favor of the gods. Midday brings a feast, a moment of indulgence in a world where most, like the farmer we met, know only scarcity. You recline on a cushioned bench, surrounded by courtiers and favored guests' priests, generals, perhaps a poet reciting hymns. Servants, their steps silent, present platters of roasted gazelle, barley cakes drizzled with honey, and dates stuffed with almonds. Goblets of date wine gleam in the lamplight, their sweetness a luxury few can afford. The air is alive with the scent of spices, coriander, cumin, and the soft strains of a lyre. You eat slowly, savoring the richness, but your mind never strays far from matters of state. The palace is not only a place of governance, but a household teeming with life. Your family resides in private chambers, their rooms adorned with woven tapestries and ivory combs. Your queen, a figure of grace and influence, oversees the women's quarters, her role as vital as your own. Your children, trained in cuneiform and ritual, are groomed for power or priesthood. Yet even here, intrigue lurks. Siblings vie for favor, advisors whisper of alliances, and the harem, a complex web of diplomacy, binds distant cities through marriage. You navigate this world with care, knowing a misstep could spark rebellion. Afternoon finds you inspecting the palace stores, a reminder of your city's wealth and fragility. You walk through cool, shadowed rooms filled with jars of oil, sacks of barley, and bolts of dyed wool. Scribes tally the tribute, their styluses scratching clay, while overseers report on the harvest. The farmer's labor, the canals he tends, the grain he sows, all converge here, sustaining your rule. Yet drought or flood could empty these stores, and whispers of unrest grow louder when bellies go unfilled. Your power rests on the unseen hands of those who toil beyond these walls. As evening falls, you retire to a rooftop terrace, the city spread below like a tapestry of torchlight and shadow. The Euphrates glitters under the moon, its waters the lifeblood of your kingdom. You sip a final goblet of wine, the breeze carrying the faint scent of river mud. A scribe reads from a tablet, perhaps a hymn by Enheduanna, Sargon's daughter, her words a bridge to the past. You reflect on your legacy, the ziggurat you've built, the laws you've set, the wars you've won. Yet the gods are fickle, and no king rules forever. The palace, for all its splendor, is a world apart from the farmer's hut, yet bound to it. Your feasts, your robes, your power all depend on the sweat of those who labor in the fields. This contrast, this delicate balance, is the heartbeat of Mesopotamia, a civilization of mud and magnificence. As we leave the palace behind, let your mind rest in its quiet opulence, the flicker of its lamps fading into the night. And so, our journey through ancient Mesopotamia draws to a close. From the sun-scorched fields of a Sumerian farmer to the throne of a king, from the rise of Sargon's empire to the silent steps of the great ziggurat of yore, we've wandered through a world both distant and familiar. These were lives shaped by the rhythm of the rivers, by the will of the gods, by the endless dance of labor and power. Their stories, etched in clay, have carried us through the quiet hours, a gentle thread connecting past to present. As you lie in the comfort of your own bed, far from the dust and toil of Sumer, let the weight of their days slip away. The farmer's hoe, the king's crown, the ziggurat stones, all are memories now, softened by time. Let your mind drift, carried by the murmur of the Euphrates, toward a place of rest. This is boring history for sleep, where the past whispers softly, guiding you gently into dreams. Good night, and may your sleep be as peaceful as the starlit plains of Mesopotamia.